Good afternoon. I'm Danielle Shenk in the 1011 Now streaming studio with this week's Crime Stoppers. Joining me now is LPD's Jared Minary. How's it going today?
Good, real good.
Doing good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Trying to get used to the cold here.
No, I'm never used to the cold.
Yeah, and snow a little bit earlier than
Yep.
last year.
We've had a lot of accidents. So, yeah.
Yeah, you said Saturday was a big day for you guys.
Yes, they were very busy on Saturday, of what I'm hearing. Luckily, I was at home, but
Yeah.
I know many of our officers had a very long day that day.
Yeah, you're not out on the streets, but you're looking at the video
Yes.
of that. All right, so we have two cases that we're talking about here today that you need the public's help with. The first involves a pup named Odie. So what can you tell us?
Yeah, so basically, we had a victim on November 11th. It was a Tuesday, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This victim goes to the Walgreens at 27th and Vine, walking the dog. This Jack Russell Terrier, she ties the dog up outside of the store, and when she comes back out about 10 minutes later, that dog is gone. She's been looking for this dog since November 11th. We reviewed the cameras just to see if we could figure out who took the dog, of course, and unfortunately, it's just not enough detail to identify this person, but we believe it to be a black male wearing a darker colored top and lighter colored pants. So we're hoping that maybe that'll just kind of trip somebody's memory of this situation, or maybe they know where this dog is at and they'll recognize the pictures of Odie here. We'd like to get Odie back to his owner. So.
Yeah, and so you guys have pictures on your website. They were maybe a little blurry, but you don't do so much with surveillance video. But a great picture here of Odie. So, do investigators believe this was kind of a crime of opportunity? They saw the dog and just napped it, or
Well, we honestly don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, it's probably more of an opportunistic crime, but we just don't know the details.
Right.
I mean, it could be somehow someone related to the victim, but until we know more, we just can't answer that question. So.
Yeah. And so, are there any characteristics maybe of the suspect that kind of stood out from photos, or
Not necessarily. Like I said, unfortunately it's just kind of low resolution camera at that point. It just didn't give us enough to really go on. Just basically just a basic description of black male. So.
And so, what can you tell us a little bit more about Odie? What you know about him?
I don't personally know Odie. I know
Right.
that the victim in this, they've had this dog for a while, so I'm not sure how old Odie is, but I know that they have been missing Odie since November, so that's been quite a while. So that's why we decided to highlight it this week, is because it's been quite a while.
Yeah.
Usually when an animal goes missing, it'll show up at the Humane Society or something, and we'll get him back to him. But since it's been such a long time, this one made the news. So.
All right. And so I think in your description, you said that he might try to nip at strangers approaching him, which is surprising for, this suspect was able to nab him then.
Again, I mean, it could relate to somebody maybe knowing this dog, and that's why the dog was taken. But if we had more information, it would help if somebody knows. Obviously, some of these smaller dogs can nip, but maybe this individual just decided to take the dog for some reason and was able to avoid the nipping.
Yeah. So what should people do if they think they've seen Odie?
Well, obviously, you can always call the police department. You can call 441-6000. That's just the non-emergency line. And then, of course, if you want to give a tip, you want to remain anonymous or be eligible for a cash reward. To do that, you're going to have to go and call Crime Stoppers. Of course, we do have a phone number, which is that 402-475-3600 number. You can go online. If you go to LincolnCrimeStoppers.com, you can see this post. Leave a tip on that case on that website. And, of course, if you have that P3 app downloaded to your phone, use that. You can give a good tip on there. And the nice thing about that is we can actually have a little bit of a communication with you if we want to know more information about, did the dog nip this person, that kind of stuff. So if you want to leave a tip there, those are your 3 ways. Again, of course, you can always just call the police department.
And no hospital visits that we know of
so
far
of
a person getting
no
bit by a dog.
Incidents, yes.
Alrighty. And so what's the second case here that you have today?
So basically, this one is a hit and run. This was on Saturday, November 22nd, at about 8 p.m. in the evening. We had a pedestrian that was walking across the street in the crosswalk, legally obeying the traffic laws. And this vehicle, unfortunately, turned left and struck this bystander or this pedestrian. She had some injuries. She got a concussion out of this and multiple bruises to the right side of her body. We, of course, go looking for the vehicle. We find some video of it. Again, today we're kind of having some low-resolution video here, but we know that this is some kind of sedan. It's lighter colored. We think it could possibly be a Volkswagen or a Toyota style. It does have noticeable damage on that passenger side. Some of these images here, this one isn't the best, but you might actually see some of the damage in some of the other images, like this one. There you go. So we're hoping that maybe somebody recognizes this vehicle. We do know that the back window of the car had a bunch of stickers, and one of the the witnesses to this described it as that Christian fish outline, and it had the word
okay.
peace right in the middle of it. So we're just hoping that those little details will trip somebody up and say, hey, I do remember that car. I know who drives it. Give us a good tip so we can chase that person down.
Pretty ironic to have that sticker when you're involved in a hit and run.
That thought did cross my mind, yes.
Have you been able to identify maybe any other additional witnesses or camera angles that might help?
We did have some bystanders that stuck around, which was great. They did help the victim out in this case, and just basically helped calm her down and help her get some medical attention at the time. We don't have any other witnesses that we know of, so if you did witness this and you got some information, that would definitely help. Maybe somehow you got a camera in your car. Occasionally we'll get lucky and somebody will have that in their car when they're driving, and they can grab a plate for us or something. So if you happen to be in the area, 10th and O Street around November 22nd, and you have something, let us know.
Yeah, and so given the victim's injuries, you said a concussion and some other bruises and things like that, what are maybe the potential charges that the driver would face because of this?
Well, definitely, it could be a negligent driving just for the accident part. They're going to have a leaving the scene of an accident type of charge. And of course, there could be other charges just depending on it. A lot of times when you have something like this happen, turns out the drivers say they're suspended. So there could be other charges that could get lumped into that, if depending on the status of the driver and the condition of everything.
Mm-hmm. And so what should members of the public do if they've maybe spotted a car that looks like a match, or maybe see some stickers, maybe even stickers that have been removed or altered on the back?
Right. We do get tips like that on Crime Stoppers, and that always helps. So basically, if you're letting us know or letting the police department know, we can go out and we can look at those cars. I know in previous cases of hit and runs, we've actually gone door to door with people that have that type of a vehicle when we get a tip, and they just go look at the cars and see if they match. A lot of times we'll do some kind of comparison between the vehicle and the suspect vehicle in the video, and so that usually will help us out in those cases. But it just really depends on what people know, what they tell us. So.
Yeah, and so there kind of seems to be quite a increase in pedestrian hit and runs. I don't know, it seems like we have one almost every day, at least every week here.
And I would agree. It also feels like luckily with winter weather, maybe this will slow down, but we had a lot of motorcycle accidents. So just a lot of people just not paying attention right now, all the way around. And so hopefully with winter weather, it will slow down just in the sense that maybe a little less reckless driving. Obviously, you have other conditions that can lead to more accidents that are more accidental. But yes, it was a rough summer. We had a lot of people that got hurt this summer for that. So
yeah, another reminder to put the phone down, and even if you're walking too.
Yeah, definitely. And some of these pedestrian accidents, that's kind of what's happening, is they're just as distracted as the drivers. And unfortunately, a person against a vehicle, they're usually going to lose that battle pretty quick. So.
Yeah. And so if listeners, as you mentioned before, have any details about these cases, they just reach out through a variety of ways.
Absolutely. Yep. Again, you can call the police department, or you can call Crime Stoppers and leave those tips, and those three versions of how you can give those tips to Crime Stoppers. The cool thing about Crime Stoppers is that if you want to remain anonymous, that is the whole purpose of Crime Stoppers. Whereas if you call the police department, you're probably going to end up in a report. And some people are the kind of people that want to know. I want to help out and don't mind being a person in a report, and we do appreciate those people, so I don't want to minimize that. But we also have people that are worried, and not necessarily in these type of cases, but a lot of times, like say if there's a domestic and they live nearby, maybe they actually know someone that has a warrant. They don't want that person to find out they're the one that gave the tip, and that's where Crime Stoppers really comes in, is it's getting us the information without putting people in danger.
Mm-hmm. And so, of course, always visit your website for more details on these. There's that example of the peace fish that you guys are looking out for, but of course other cases that Lincoln Police needs help with as well.
Yep, it's always fun to peruse that. There's always some interesting stories, so if you really want to know what's going on in Lincoln, that's definitely a place to go.
Yeah, and so when it comes to giving those tips, just kind of remind us again about how that process works. There might be a little bit of a reward involved.
Yep. So, and that actually kind of lays back into the post we made today on Facebook about our Crime Stoppers program. So
try to get that pulled up
we're
here.
making a whole bunch of posts every year. About 800, I think, in total is what we're usually making. And so last year we made 768 posts on our website. I think we're the only police department in the world that posts every case that we don't have a suspect on. So in a way that makes us very unique. So that's a lot of cases that we just need help on. And in other departments, a lot of those are misdemeanors, and they would just ask somebody that maybe works the same team as them, say, hey, do you know this guy? And they don't. They just say, I don't know it, and it would be cleared, and they wouldn't do anything. In Lincoln, I love the fact that we are proactive and we put this out and we try to get the public's help. And it's paid off in about 50% of the cases here. We're clearing them because we get tips on those cases. And a lot of them, like I said, are misdemeanor cases, small stuff like shoplifting. But it does make a big impact because a lot of times we're getting people, let's say they're into they're addicted to drugs and they're looking for a quick cash that they can use to funnel that in to basically buy more drugs. If we can get them on shoplifting charges, we can either get them into the justice system or get them some kind of treatment or help, and that will help them from going to further crimes that may be worse crimes and put more victims out there. So as far as I'm concerned, the $50 reward for just a simple shoplift is a big deal for us because we're hopefully making impact on people before it gets too bad. So again, you can see on that post, we made a lot of posts. We've made a lot of cleared cases on all kinds of different types of cases. And the way it kind of works, let's just kind of walk you through a tip. So if you know something about one of these cases and you call Crime Stoppers, what they're going to do is they're going to give you a tipster ID number. And you need to make sure you write that down if you want a reward. Most people don't care. They don't want the reward. I think we have a 3% pickup rate of the rewards, which means 97% of the people we're getting give us tips don't even want the money. They're just doing it because
they're good people.
They're good people. I mean, that's really what it boils down. They want to make Lincoln safe, or good people. They just want to do the right thing, or they just don't care about the cash for some reason. But it's great because there are other Crime Stoppers programs out there that have really high pickup rates, and to me, that just says something about our community, about how much we want to keep Lincoln safe. So I don't want to judge the program based on how much money we're giving out. I think that's kind of my point here. Some people kind of question that sometimes, like, well, how come it's not more money? The reason is we get great tips, and we don't have to pay people because they're doing it for the right reasons. However, we do pay for the people that need it, and there are people that need that incentive. And especially when we get into like big crimes, like homicides or something, we're trying to put that money out there, try to get tips on those kind of cases.
Yeah.
So that tip comes in, and then basically the officer, it's forwarded to the police department from the Crime Stoppers program. That officer investigates it, and if they're able to clear it, then it comes back to the Crime Stoppers program. They vote on a reward for that case, and then that tipster can basically recontact the Crime Stoppers program and collect that money. And we have various ways of doing that, but basically you stay anonymous the entire time. We don't know who you are. Nobody knows who you are from that point forward. And it's a great program. I love the fact that we are clearing so many cases with this program.
Yeah, a nice little Spotify wrapped version of the Lincoln Police Report. I mean, 2,000 tips is an incredible number.
That is a lot. It's I know at one point when we first started doing this, before we actually had the website, we were getting about 15 to 20 tips a month. So that's stellar compared to what we used to get. So I'm really thankful that we have a forward-thinking police department, a forward-thinking Crime Stopper program, and really a public that really wants to help.
And so the hit and run is number 3. So, just putting that out there of top
Yeah, it did kind of come up there, didn't it? Yeah.
Goodness. Shoplifting, larceny, burglary, and vandalism round out that top 5. But anything else you want to mention while we have you here today?
I will say one last bit. We did have our Crime Stoppers fundraiser recently. We had our trivia with a mission night. That was a great night. I do want to thank 1011 for your help on that.
Go Bill.
Bill came out and helped out. He was great. But it was a good partnership with you guys. So thank you. And I really want to thank everybody that came to the event. And we raised about $15,000 that can help pay for not only the rewards, but can also keep the program going, because they pay for a lot of things that the computer programs, the phones and all that the program needs. And that's not the police department doesn't pay for that stuff. We provide the program to the police department so that all that's still within the program, the Crime Stopper program. So I just want to thank everybody for all your help in that. So.
Yeah, and we love to have partnerships, so, especially with Lincoln Police.
Ditto.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us here today, Jared.
Thank you.
So you can stay tuned to 1011now.com and follow us on all of our social platforms for the latest news of the day. And don't forget, you can watch us anytime on Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV from our newsroom to wherever you are. We'll see you on the next stream.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media at 1011 News.